Hey everybody, hi to those in the northeast of the United States who probably just are digging out from Blizzard 2017. I hope everybody's safe and warm and recovering from all that shoveling. It was a really long day for those of you who had to deal with the storm, so I hope everybody's okay. Through the course of the past weekend, I've been getting a lot of emails from people who participated in last week's Fearless Challenge, where we worked on identifying, conquering our fears, and moving to action. And I thought rather than just writing back individually, it might make sense to just jump on a quick live and answer the questions anonymously so that everyone can benefit. And if you ever have a question for me where you'd like my 2 cents and you wouldn't mind me doing the same for you, answering the question anonymously in an upcoming blog post or on a Facebook Live, certainly do send your question my way at heather@choosetohaveitall.com, and I'll get right back to you with that too. Today we have 3 questions, and it's kind of interesting to me the very differences that there are in the questions and the different aspects and angles that people took when they were considering the role that fear plays in their lives. But what was also really continuing to surprise me was how much of the engagement, the challenge, happened behind closed doors. I went on Facebook Live every day off my business page. I shared one of my videos on my personal Facebook page, and I even went into the community group and shared them there, as well as sending emails to people who had signed up for the actual challenge themselves. And all of the conversations I had around this, most of them happened through email. And it was a lot of people reaching out, feeling hesitant and tentative around talking about their fears publicly, not even what they were afraid of, just the topic of fear. And I think that it's important to pay attention to for a little bit here is that just talking about fear cues our bodies to know that change is coming. Because if we're talking about it, that means we want to do something about it. And we have those heart palpitations, and the knot in the stomach just kicks in right away because it says, oh, danger, danger, something's going to happen. We're going to need to do something different here. And we just tighten up. And I think that's what happens. And I welcome the email conversations, but I'm also going to call people out who do the email game and say, like, you're playing a little bit small for yourself by even giving the fear oxygen by saying, like, that it has to be kept hidden, that it's not something that can be publicly talked about, because some of these fears, like, are shared universal fears. A lot of them are shared universal fears. And I think one of the things that people really missed out on with the challenge that I'm hoping maybe a future challenge can tackle is this idea that we can rally together in a community around it and support each other rather than just me sort of doing all the supporting and the answering, that to really recognize how many of you were in it together, I think probably would have helped folks. But I also really believe in meeting people where they're at. And if the first step for them is simply reaching out and talking to me, because sharing it on Facebook is certainly quite public, I'm learning that myself every day, I certainly understand. So let me just jump in with the first question, because it seems like you and I might be here for a while. I've got 3 questions and I'm going to try to tackle them all. So here goes. The first one. Hey Heather, thanks so much for your challenge. I'm surprised to realize how hard it is to reach out to you and ask for help, but I'm really struggling. You see, my family moved 500 miles away from home last summer for my husband's work. At first, I was so focused on getting the kids settled into their new school and to helping them adjust. Then came the holidays, and I wanted to make them special for our family since it would be our first holiday without family and friends. Now, 7 months later, I'm realizing that I haven't made any new friends in our new home. Yes, I have friendly chats with neighbors and with other moms at drop-off, but no one I could call on a bad day or just for a quick afternoon chat. I miss my old friends, of course, but I have no idea how to make new friends. I know my fears and insecurities are holding me back, but I have no idea where to begin. You keep talking about taking action, and I'm sure you're going to tell me to reach out, but I have no idea how. Help. Okay. Making friends was so much easier in college, right? Like when we had schools and activities and clubs and social structures that kind of gave us these organized ways of making friends. And I'm sure your kids are doing great because they have a new school with a teacher who's helping them with introductions, and maybe you've gotten them into some after-school programs, or moms have reached out to you for play dates and different things, and it seems so easy for kids. And then suddenly we tell ourselves as an adult that it's a little bit different. And having worked with a lot of people who've needed to relocate for work, I know this struggle and I've talked to people about it. And I kind of want to challenge your thinking here because you already know how to make new friends. You just helped your kids over the past 7 months do it for themselves. And what you did for them, you do for yourself. So I'm sure they told you, nobody's going to like me. We don't have anything in common. If you move to a land of accents or you moved from a land of accents, maybe kids are worried about talking funny or sounding funny to everybody else, or not knowing how to play the regional games or do things the way the locals do them or know where the locals go. And I'm sure that you reassured their fears and you reminded them of everything they were good at back home, how good they were at friendships back home, all of the talents they had, and how everybody would like them. And for some reason, as adults, we change the script. But the thing we have to remember here is we're all just grown-up kids. We all have that shared experience, and any adult going into a new situation is going to worry, am I going to be liked? Are people going to respect me, be interested in me? Does everybody already have their set group of friends and they're not really looking for anybody new? That's a normal worry. It's a normal reaction to an abnormal circumstance. It's not always typical that you uproot your life 500 miles away for work. So I first want to assure you that your reaction to this is quite normal. The next step, when you think about taking action, you have to think about what action makes sense for you and how you move through the world. So if you have interests and hobbies and you used to go to the gym locally where you used to live, go back to doing that. If you used to become friends with the moms that the moms of the kids your friend, the moms of the friends that your kids have become friends with, then you go and you get to know those moms, and you don't lead with the story that they have enough friends or that there's plenty of, there's no interest in getting to know you. I think you do what's common to you and what feels consistent with who you are. And that might mean simply making eye contact and saying hi to somebody at drop-off. Not even a whole conversation. But sometimes when we're really nervous and we're assuming nobody's going to want to get to know us, we play small. We avoid eye contact, we look down, we hand out, we kind of hide back in the outskirts, and we don't let ourselves be seen because we're assuming that nobody's going to be interested in us, when in fact, nonsense. We don't know that. What happens if we simply say hi? Does someone say hi back? Or if you're interested in getting to know somebody, the good thing about being the shy one or being the one who's hesitant is usually you're pretty observant, right? So you're probably already aware of moms or other people who you would like to get to know better, and who interest you, who seem really nice, who you might have a couple of things in common with. And you probably already know, too, the moms that you feel like you'd have nothing in common with, that here's hoping you never have to have a conversation that goes beyond small talk. So now that you've been on the outskirts and you've put yourself on the outskirts for 7 months, so yes, it's absolutely time to get into the friends game for yourself. Decide who you'd like to get to know better, just one person, and think about how you would get to know that person better. What works with your comfort zone? Is it inviting them for a cup of coffee? Is it saying, would you like to go for a quick walk for an hour before we pick the kids up from school? Is it inviting their entire family over to your house for Sunday brunch, suggesting a game night? You can go and look inside yourself for what's consistent with who you are and how you move through the world normally and naturally, and extend an invite that sets you up for success. There are no rules for shoulds or how could I's when you're the one doing the initiating. You get to do it exactly how you'd want to do it, and you get to suggest things exactly the way you would want them suggested. So if something feels kind of inconsistent with who you are, don't do it. Just pivot a little bit and figure out a way to connect with people that make sense for you. And that might simply mean going up to a mom and saying, hey, my daughter told me that your daughter did A, B, and C in class the other day. What a great kid. People love engaging around compliments. It's not a hard conversation to start. Or if you don't know where the best restaurant is in town, or you don't know where the best park is, you can just say to a mom, hey, I'm kind of new in town. I'm looking for a new park to take the kids. Do you have any suggestions? Like those types of things. Just a quick question, a quick observation, anything that starts the conversation. I think you're right. I told you to reach out, right? You told me that's what I was going to tell you, but hopefully I gave you some specific scripts to try. But I think that what stops us is we create these stories that not only do we have to extend the Sunday invite or the dinner plan, ask the question, give the compliment, but we have to know everything that's going to happen next in the conversation or how the rest of the interaction is going to go. And it just doesn't go that way. We simply have to start. And that's when it's on the other person to participate. And obviously, nobody wants to get the cold shoulder. Nobody wants to be rejected. But you've probably gotten the cold shoulder in your life before. You've probably been really nice, kind, and considerate to someone, met them halfway, only to be ignored or bristled or, and you've lived to tell the tale. So I would encourage you to remind yourself that, you can handle a little bit of rejection. You don't want to, but you don't like being lonely. That's the part you're not able to handle right now. So in order to not be lonely, you have to take a chance and you have to start somewhere. Hopefully in the script, I've given you a couple of different options that feel consistent with who you are and how you would prefer to move through the world. All right, let's look next. Okay, this is fun. So it says, Heather, how the heck do you go live on Facebook every day? I too run my own online business. After watching you go live every day, I can tell that I've gotten to know you better. I can see that it would help my community know me better too if I was willing to go live. Everyone's telling me to do it, but I keep avoiding it. How'd you do it? Well, I gotta tell you here, let me just mess up. I did it because I was dared to by a client. I was talking to somebody I was telling a client who was managing some anxiety. I was like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Everybody's been telling me that to get word out about my business and how I work with people, that I need to go do Facebook Lives because it's a better way of connecting than my articles. And she just kind of called bullshit on me and she dared me to do it. That being said, when I got on live, I literally told everybody who was watching me that night exactly what I wanted them to think. I said, I'm really nervous. I don't have a script here. I wasn't planning on saying much. I just have a fear that I need to get over. And I just told everybody what I wanted them to think, because the reality is that anytime you try something new, anytime you step outside your comfort zone, it's just going to be scary. When I started writing, I used to be nervous about what the comments on the internet were going to say. What if I was misunderstood? What if people questioned my ability as a therapist because of the advice I gave in an article? What if? And the reality is that the best we can do is set ourselves up for success. And you'll see a commonality with the question that I just answered, because it's the same thing. If you know you want to go on Facebook Live, you know that it would be a good way to connect for yourself, for your business or your personal life, or to improve relationships, or you want to try writing articles. Like, interswap Facebook Live with whatever it is you're nervous to try yourself. It could be a new exercise class, a new physical activity, like going someplace new. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Facebook Live. It's this idea that once you identify what it is you want to do, how do you move through the world in such a way that sets it up for success so you can tailor it to your comfort zone? So for example, if you are really nervous about Facebook Live, script it out, because if you're worried about what you're going to say, just read the thing the first time. Nobody's really going to care. fear, and recognize that you don't get less afraid until you do it repeatedly. I was still nervous and felt like I was going to throw up for a while. And then in January, I ran a challenge, and I did a challenge video every day for that one too, and that's what got me comfortable. But the other thing too is that at any point in time, I consistently reminded myself that this was something I didn't have to do. I think sometimes we tack on fear and worry and anxiety around things when we feel a loss of control, when we feel forced to do something. The mom in the question before said, I know you're going to make me reach out. And suddenly, once you have that story that you're going to be asked to do something that you're not quite comfortable with, the anxiety starts to brew, rather than recognizing that, like, you're the one who decided this fear was getting in your way. You're the one who decided you were becoming your worst obstacle. You're the one who decided you didn't want to be that obstacle anymore. So if it really does get too bad, you can quit. You'll still feel lonely, isolated, disconnected, fill in the blank there, but you're in control of this, not your fear. And I think it's important to talk back to that a little bit and to call it out for what it is, and to recognize that the only reason why you're here, the only reason why you're watching a Facebook Live or reading these articles that I've been putting out on being fearless, is because you don't like the way fear is impacting your own life and you want to change it. So you don't have to act like you're being forced to do this. You have total control. And whenever it gets to be too much, you can slow down the pace. So hopefully that helps. It gives you some ideas. But at the end of the day, you just got to do it. Set yourself up for success and get used to feeling uncomfortable until you do it a couple of times. And then suddenly the thing that you're worried about specifically with Facebook Live is this week I wrote an article, and it took me forever to get the stupid thing done because I kept thinking in my head, oh, I could just go on Facebook Live for it. But I also too know that it's really important that I keep putting out written content for people to read as well. Okay, so this next one's a biggie, and hopefully I do it justice. Some of these, you get your money's worth here with free Facebook Live. So hopefully I'll be able to help this guy out. Heather, I'm sure that when you started your Fearless Challenge, you thought you would be helping people do big things like travel, start new businesses, take new jobs, or try something new. I took your challenge for a totally different reason. I have to break something down. My marriage. I'm miserable, and I have been miserable for a while. She knows it. My kids know it, but I'm terrified. I haven't been able to say the words, to destroy our kids and to uproot everyone. We just keep coexisting, but I'm lonely, and I know she is too. I'm hurting, and she's hurting too. I hide at work, and she hides with her friends or upstairs in the bedroom. I take the long way home, and I sleep on the couch, and she hides with my kids. Marriage therapy was a bust for us. It's time to go, and I can't seem to move. Not 1 inch. What do you do when your dream isn't about building something up, but instead you have to destroy lives and hurt people? Whew. Take a deep breath with that one. Okay, so here's the thing. My answer to this might not be popular. People might wonder where the heck I'm coming from. But I don't think you're destroying lives here. I don't think you're breaking things down. I think you're creating an opportunity to build something new, because where you are is currently broken and not working. I've sat with so many people over the years who sit still in empty marriages and empty relationships for the kids, for the finances, because they don't want to lose the home, because they're afraid of change, because they've put X amount of time in, they think they have to put more in. Fill in the blank. There's all kinds of reasons. But the thing is that when you choose to end a relationship, yes, you're breaking your own heart, you're breaking your spouse's heart, and you're breaking the hearts of your kids. And yes, that is unavoidable, but that's not the whole story. That's not where it ends. That's just the first chapter. That's the hard part. What you are doing by acknowledging for everybody, it sounds like you're pretty clear that everybody knows this isn't working, is you're doing them a favor and you're giving everybody permission to move on. If your wife knows that this isn't working and she isn't saying something, you're helping her out by doing it for her. I know that the story is breaking things down. You're worried probably about being seen as a deadbeat dad or an absentee dad, and or fill in the blank there. I think men get a really bad rap when they leave relationships compared to women. But here's the thing, is that you can tell everybody exactly what you want them to think. You can tell your wife, I care about you, you're the mother of my kids, but this life isn't working for us. We're not happy, and I think we deserve to be happy. You deserve to be happy. We've given this everything we can, but we can't get on the same page, or we can't meet each other's needs, etc., and just be really transparent. And then say what you want the split to look like, who you hope to be in the separation. And she, depending on how fragile she is, depending on how mentally strong she is, how she responds isn't really up to your control, but it isn't a reason not to do it. And then you do the same thing for the kids. You say, listen, guys, you guys are just growing up, but there is a world of love out there. And I don't want you to see love as sleeping in separate bedrooms, not talking, not eating dinner at the same time. I believe that you can see good, healthy relationships, or I believe you can see a healthier, happier family if we're not all trying so hard to stay in something that just isn't working. And then you offer the specifics of such and such time when X happened or when Y happened. And then you set it up for success. But part of this is telling yourself that, like, the hard part, the breaking your heart part, the breaking your wife's heart part, or your kids, like, that's not where the story ends, because at some point you'll be on the other side and people will have adjusted and made changes and built new lives, and suddenly it's not till you're on the other side of it that you realize that stepping through the fear of change allowed you to build a new life where people are simply more at peace. They might be happier. It doesn't mean that it's easy, and it doesn't mean that the grief cycle isn't cyclical and that it won't hit you in waves. But what is right now won't always be. But if you don't say something, it's another year of your kids looking at a fractured, empty marriage. It's the Norman Rockwell picture of everything seemingly looking fine, but really not being fine. And you're robbing yourself of time and happiness. You're robbing your wife of that same time and happiness. And nobody knows that because they're so terrified of the initial things. I'm never going to be able to walk you through how do you, end a marriage in a Facebook Live when I don't know your situation, I don't know your story. But I hope that I can share some perspective. I recognize that my advice isn't going to be good for everybody, and you're certainly going to have to give some thought to it. But I want to challenge some of the thinking errors that you're making and the stories you're creating. Because I've been a therapist for close to 20 years, and I actually don't know that many lives that have been destroyed by divorce. I know a lot of lives that have been fractured or cracked because parents didn't get a divorce, because that affects kids too, and that affects how you perceive yourself in relationships. It affects how you perceive your own sense of happiness. When you grow up watching your parents choose not to be happy for the sake of the kids, those kids often become adults who choose not to be happy for the sake of their kids or for the sake of somebody else. That's what ends up getting modeled, rather than our lives matter and we're not always going to get it right the first time. But if we handle ourselves with integrity and with respect and with a little bit of class and grace for ourselves and some self-acceptance, it really can be okay on the other side of this. Now, here's the thing, all of you, it's not easy making new friends. It's not easy building new habits, and it's not easy ending relationships. Whatever the other people who are watching these videos and reading these emails have been experiencing, whatever you're sitting with isn't easy either. And so I have a Fearless 2.0 package. I've been working with people for 2 weeks, not long, like lengthy times of treatment, not bone crushing work, but taking you where you started with your fear with a 1 hour one-on-one coaching call with me where we break down your specific fear, because I can't do a Facebook Live for every single one. And I certainly still, without the benefit of dialogue, can't get to really good specifics to help you get the direction you need. But we'll sit down for a 1 hour call, and then for 2 weeks after, you'll have your strategy and an individualized plan that'll help you figure out where you need to go next in your own life to conquer your fear. And then we'll wrap up that with we'll wrap up that 2 weeks with another half-hour call. And I'm only charging $350 for that. And those of you who are familiar with the coaching space know that the industry standard for that is typically $500. But I'm not looking for money to be an obstacle. I am looking to help you individually take action on the thing that you're afraid of. So if you've participated in these videos and you've participated in the challenge and your life doesn't look a little bit different 8-9 days later, then I'm going to challenge you to reach out to me at heather@choosetohaveitall.com and let me help, because I gave you a starter kit. But if you need my hand for the rest of the way to take those few steps, I really hope you'll consider taking it, because you don't need to be stuck in the same place you are right now, next month, 2 months from now, or a year from now. Your life really can look different. I really appreciate all of you who reached out with questions, comments, and concerns. I'll certainly think about doing another Facebook Live, but at this point in time, it's time for you guys to put up or shut up and take some action in your own lives. And I know you can do it. I know I've given you the skill set that you need to get started. But if your individual situation didn't get captured here, I didn't get to it in a way that was detailed enough, that was specific enough to get you going on your own path, then give me a call or send me an email and we can get started today. Thanks so much, guys. This Fearless Challenge is amazing. I loved getting to know all of you so much, and I look forward to doing the next one. You guys have a great day. Stay safe and warm, everyone. Bye-bye.